Hey, this is Nick Nilsson, Mad Scientist of Muscle, and what I've got for you here is a killer rack pull, quote-unquote, type of exercise. This is a kneeling trap bar deadlift lockout. So basically it's a way to do a rack pull like exercise, hitting the very top lockout of the deadlift using a trap bar and not using a rack. So the real problem with the rack pull exercise, just to give you a little background of why you want to even do this one, is basically the weight is forward of your body. So when you're doing a normal deadlift, by the time the bar is get to your knees, your legs are pretty much straight. However, in a rack pull, there's a tendency to leverage the bar up off of your thighs just to get it up, and you're not actually really working the muscles that you should be working, which is spinal erectors and your glutes for that last portion of the range of motion. So this exercise solves that, and it allows you to use a lot of weight. This is about 500 pounds on the bar right here. I'm using a step riser, and I'm actually going to throw a towel over top for cushioning for the knees. And it's not hard on the knees, you're actually resting on the very top knobby part of your tibia, your shin bone, rather than the actual knee joint, so it's not a big deal with that. Now I've got the trap bar upside down basically so that the low handles are up and the high handles are down. This is going to give me a bit better range of motion. Essentially, it's putting the bar just above the knees, or the equivalent to. When you're using the trap bar, you're putting yourself, just like in the regular movement, inside the weight. So you're not having to worry about basically leveraging around the weight. You're not putting torque on your lower back, which is a big issue for the really heavy rack pulls. So I recommend grip assistance with this. You don't necessarily need it, but if you want to truly work your lower back fully, this is a good one to do. So kneel on here. Now your back, the back of your toes here, they're just touching the ground. They're the outriggers of your canoe. They're just there for balance. They're not there to make this into a loaded kneeling sissy squat exercise whatsoever. They're just there for balance. All of the loading should be on your legs here on your knees. Other than that, you want to transcribe a straight up and down pattern with the bar, doing a hip hinge exercise. Yeah, hip hinge movement, I should say. So here's what it looks like. Enough chatter. So that is the exercise using the step riser. Now, if you want to opt to use just the bar and kneeling on the floor, you can do that as well. And this is going to shorten the range of motion, but you're still going to get a massive, strong lower back workout out of it. One other option you can do is start with the riser and do a drop set, taking the riser away immediately, doing some from the floor. So it's kind of like a range of motion drop set in that respect. But the other one I showed you was 495. This is 545, through extra 50 pounds on there because range of motion is shorter. Like literally just an inch. Once you take into account the bar bend, like I said, there's really not much range of motion to it. That's why if you do have the option of using a step riser, it's going to allow you to get greater range of motion and actually get more of the exercise. So that is the trap bar kneeling deadlift lockout.